Hey guys, welcome back to Games with Hayden. I'm Mark, and as you can see, my boy Hayden is not here with me today. That's for a couple reasons. One, he's in school, and two, today's game, its theme is not necessarily appropriate for a 7-year-old. And this game is called Letters from Whitechapel. Now, this game is based around the 19th century, I believe 1880s, I believe, when Jack the Ripper was going on his killing spree throughout Whitechapel of London. So not necessarily for younger kids. But this game, you guys, man, who published this? This Nexus? Dude, it is an amazing game. I'm going to give you my thoughts right here, right now. And I love it, and I think you guys should all go and buy it because it is so good. It's a cooperative game, it's a deductive game, and the way it's designed is so it's just a clean design. There's not so much fiddliness to it. It's just a great game, great party game, great game just to pull out. I played it with my father-in-law and my wife, so 3 players, and it was just so much fun. But let's just open up the box and see what you get inside, and maybe I'm not going to go into grave detail about how to play this game, but I just want to show you guys what it looks like and why you might want to spend your money on this excellent game. Inside the box you get an instruction book, and this book is really well written, guys. I mean, it's got loads of pictures and illustrations and examples throughout the book. So although it's a 15-page instruction book and it might look a little daunting, it is clearly written, and you know, just one read through will give you a grasp of the game, and you can come back to it later and actually look at pictures and examples to help flesh it out. Very well written instruction book. You have a screen for the player who plays Jack the Ripper. This just conceals his movements, where he's been throughout the night. He puts it so he's the only one who can see it. And it also, on the inside of the screen, as you can see, it has a map itself. And that map itself corresponds to the board. The board is a very beautiful board, and it's not gruesome at all. There's no, overtly disgusting gruesome pictures on the board. There is there's a couple blood spots over here, but that's the extent of it. And like I said, this map matches the map inside Jack's screen. And it just depicts Whitechapel, London, with little numbers placed throughout. You also get a pad containing, I don't know, maybe 50 sheets. And this is one of my quibbles with this game, is that there's not very many of these sheets included. But that's just a small, complaint. But you're going to use one of these every time you play the game. And when I sat down and played it the other day, we played it 3 times in a row, and we quickly went through them. Again, you could just make these yourself on a computer, but it would be nice if they included a little bit more. And I don't know, maybe you can go on their website and buy additional pads, but that's something I haven't checked out. But this pad, so you take one sheet and you'd actually place it right inside here. So it fits right inside here, and so Jack can actually look at the map, and he can actually keep track of where he's gone. So the screen is really well done. It's not like really thin. It's a thick piece of cardboard. So there you have that. You also get some just kind of player cards that help remind them where they are in the game. You get these heavy cardboard kind of player tokens. They just represent each of the investigators that will be on the board. So you also get, what else do you get? You get some special, these are for the advanced version of the game. They kind of throw a little bit of a mix into the game. You get 5 investigator tokens. Like again, these just correspond to the different investigators that are there. And these are all made out of wood. You get 2 Jack the Ripper tokens. You get 5 wooden, what are these? These just represent the possible women that will be killed each night. You get some special movement tokens, some various little cardboard pieces. These just represent the investigators as well, and then the possible women that will be killed. And you get some clear, these are very neat. You get some, let me just open these up real quick. You get some clear, you get, like, I don't know if you can see these, but they're clear, little clear pieces. So there's yellow, there's white, clear white, and red. And these lay on the board, and they help the investigators narrow down where Jack's going. So we'll explain that in a little bit. But just really well made pieces. The production quality on this game is pretty good. So now let's take a look and see. Let's just take a quick look. I'm not going to give you an in-depth look, but let's give you a quick look on how a game turn works. All right, here you guys have a close-up look on the board. Quickly before we get started, the thing that you'll notice is there are white circles along the board, and each of the white circles have numbers in them. And then there are black squares. Simply put, the investigators are going to move on the black squares, and Jack is going to move on the white circles with the numbers. Pretty simple. At the beginning of the game, what you're going to do is Jack, whoever, you're going to pick somebody to be the infamous Jack the Ripper. And that person is going to look at the board and find a hideout or a stakeout, a place for him to conduct his, his business. And that's his hideout. And what he's going to do is he's going to write that number right here on the top of his pad. Remember, this is secret. Nobody sees this but Jack, and he puts it in his screen. Okay? Every night, so there's 4 nights in the game. Okay? Every night he's going to kill someone. He's going to kill one wretched woman. And then he's going to try and make his way. He's got this many, 15 actions or more to make it back to his hideout every night. Okay? If he doesn't make it back in the allotted time, or he gets caught by an investigator, he loses the game. Investigators win, Jack loses. So there's going to be 4 nights. On one of those nights, 2 women are going to be killed. So a total of 5 women killed, which follows kind of the historical record, which is quite interesting. But so this is the idea. This is the premise behind the game. Jack needs to make it back to his hideout every night. So Jack picks a hideout. Say he picks number 126. Every night he's got to make it back there without the investigators catching them. Now it's important to note that Jack does not have a pawn on the board that's going to represent him. It's all moves that he's just going to write down in his journal. Okay, so the pawns, however, are going to be on the board. So Jack always kind of knows where the investigators are. So he's got to plan his movements to move around the investigators. Okay. So at the beginning of a turn, what Jack is going to do is he's just going to set things up. And that each night's going to be different. He's going to get a different amount of special tokens. Okay. So here you have the special movement tokens. The big one right here is called a coach. Now the coach will allow Jack to move more than one spot. So like say he's at 126, Jack can move 2 spots adjacent. So he could move to 103, he could move to 128, he can move to 144, he could move like a big distance. So these are very valuable. But even more valuable than the coach, one other aspect of the coach is he can actually move through an investigator, which normally is not allowed. But a more important piece and more valuable piece, in my opinion, would be the alley token. If he uses an alley token, he is able to, if you look at this board, it's split up into city blocks. So this right here is one city block. An alley token would allow him to jump to any circle surrounding that block. So he could jump from here all the way down to here. He can move to any one of those one city. So if investigators are surrounding his spot, he can literally bolt through the alleyway and jump across and get away. So very important. So at the beginning of his turn, he's just going to pick out the appropriate number of these tokens for his turn, for that night. And then through a series of kind of bluffing tactics, Jack is going to place out some possible targets represented by these little boots. Let's see, let me grab them real quick. I'm not quite prepared. But okay, here you go. These little boots, okay? Some of them are decoys, and some of them are real possible targets. So he's going to, depending on the night, he's going to place out a number of these out. Some of them will be fake and some will be real. So if you look at the other side of them, all of them are going to have boots on the other side. Okay, so he's going to place these out on the board, and so there's some possible decoys out on the board. And then the investigators are going to do the exact same thing. They have the same thing. They have tokens that are either real or decoys, and they're going to place out. So it's a kind of a series of bluffs of where we're at on the board. And then Jack's going to reveal where his actual real people, his real victims are, and then through a sort of he can buy some time and figure out where some of our real guys are or not. I'm not going to explain that. You can read the instruction book and get into that. But eventually, Jack's going to kill one of the wretched women. Okay, and this is the time where he's most vulnerable. That's where we know, the investigators know exactly where Jack the Ripper is at. At that moment, when he kills someone, that's where Jack resides. His mission now, remember, is to make it back to his base by the end of the night without getting caught by the investigators. So the job of the investigators then is to now, wherever they're at on the board, to kind of catch him. On their turn, they can do one of two things. Well, first they can move up to 2 spots, right? So they can move up to 2 squares, adjacent squares. Okay. Then, let's say we're working with this blue guy. This blue guy then can do one of two things. He can make an arrest. Say if he knows that Jack the Ripper is right there on 127, he can say, I'm going to make an arrest on 127. If Jack the Ripper's there, investigators win the game. Yay! If not, his turn is done. Then it goes on to the next investigator. The other thing that this guy can do is he can search for clues. And he does that by stating a number that's adjacent to him that he can get to. So on this line, there's only two spots that are connected to where he's at. So what he does is he starts with, let's say this one. He says, I'm searching for clues at 69, and Jack either says yes or no. If he says yes, that means that sometime during the night, Jack was there, and he'll place a clue token, one of those clear, I don't know if you can see those, remember those clear tokens? He's going to place that wherever that clue was. And there, it kind of, it narrows down where Jack has been throughout the night. So, if he was there, this guy, if he finds a clue, this guy is done. If he says no, then he can continue on and asking for clues of other places. So if he said no there, he can continue asking. I'm searching for clue at 127. If he then says yes, his turn is done, and he places a clue marker down. So it might sound a little bit confusing, but what you're doing is if you're investigating, you keep asking until one, either there are no more surrounding areas to ask about, or 2, you found a clue. You found a clue, you put down a marker, and your team now has some sort of idea of where he's been during the night. Make sense? Makes sense. So this happens, and if Jack successfully makes it back to his base, he then writes, the night's over, you reset it up, and you do it again. This is a very kind of quick, it's not explaining everything, but it might give you a little idea of how the game feels. It's truly an awesome game. It's hard to explain and show to you on camera. It's truly a group game, and it's unique, and it's I can't explain the sense that you have if you're playing Jack, because you can hear all the talking that everybody else is sharing. You know, oh, I think he's there, or I think he's there, or I think he's there. And so as Jack, you're trying to be quiet. You're nervous. You're like, oh no, they're gonna get me. But you're thinking through your strategy. If you're on the investigator side, as a team, you can get frustrated because no one's listening to you. But you're trying to get your idea across. But he's over here. No, he's not. It's just really, really good game. Let's just wrap it. Let's just end this segment, and let me tell you what I really think of the game. Well, there you have it, guys. There was a quick look at the game Whitechapel. And like I said at the beginning, I truly love this game. It was such a refreshing game to play. It's different than a lot of other games out there. And so for that, I just give it 2 thumbs up. And while a lot of you guys out there who are fans of Hayden probably have a lot of younger families, and maybe this theme of Jack the Ripper, you know, tearing through London, killing the wretched women, is not a game that you see appropriate for your family. I just want to encourage you that this game is not as gross as it might sound. The board, as you saw already, is just a bunch of numbers, and it's not gruesome. It's very cleanly designed, and it's there's nothing there that doesn't need to be there. I mean, it's the theme. You can get, if you had a bunch of adults over, you can get wrapped up in the theme and you could play out the whole murder aspect, but it's not overtly there. In fact, Hayden came by and asked us what we were playing, and I just showed him, and he, you know, I felt okay with that. So I just want to let you know that's out there. But nonetheless, if you still think that that's, you know, that sort of style game you don't want in your collection, that I totally understand that. And I just want to share with you one quick other game that is very much like Letters from Whitechapel, and it has the same sort of feel, though it's not quite as I don't know, engaging, because they're both engaging, but not quite as good or well designed. It's still very awesome. And until I played Whitechapel, this was one of my favorite games, and it's called Scotland Yard. It's the same sort of cooperative, deductive sort of game when one player is, instead of playing Jack the Ripper, one player is called Mr. X, and so the other players are trying to catch this criminal or whatever he is. So there you have it, guys. And like I said, if you know, I fully recommend it. And what is this company? Nexus Games. I recommend you guys go out and buy this game. It is so good, and it's worth your money and your time. That's all we have for today. If you'd like to check out more reviews with Hayden or Jackson, you can go to www.gameswithhayden.com. He's on Facebook, he's on YouTube. You can find him there. Until next time, I'm Mark. We'll see you later.